Matt Maiocco's theory. He went on KNBR, I believe it was KNBR, on the radio in the Bay, and said that it's basically personal. It's personal to Deebo. He can't explain exactly what the personal issue is, but it's personal. And that's funny. To me, I think it's not personal. I think it's strictly business. And I think the Niners don't understand how a 26-year-old megastar does business in 2022. I don't think the Niners understand how much power and leverage Deebo Samuel has in business. And this is a horsepower check. Deebo and his agent are saying, we don't do business like this anymore. If you don't come, if you don't meet us on our terms, on our schedule, we're gonna end this. We're in control. It's basically about who's in control. And the Niners, I think, for the last month have been saying, like, no, we're not going to give you control. No, we're not going to give you control. Well, I think it might. I don't think there's anything the Niners can do. I think this is sort of a trend in the league, and I think it's business. I don't think Deebo's necessarily mad. I think he understands. Look, if the Niners give me $25 million in California is not the same as $25 million in Texas, right? I don't know if players understood that 10 years ago, but they know that now. Mm-hmm. And so if the Niners aren't even going to come to $25 million and another team might go beyond it, then it's like the gap between those is even bigger than it is on paper. Like the money you're getting after taxes and after rent, because you're not going to buy a house out here, all that is way lower in California. So the Niners, to really be competitive for Deebo, would have to go beyond what other teams would do. And you know they won't. They're going to go a little below what other teams will do. So from a business perspective, why would you work with them? If you're a businessman like Jay-Z, if you're a business, man, and you want to be paid what you're worth. I mean, you're not a Niner fan. You didn't grow up here. You don't care about their history, the 80s. You were born in 1996. You don't know who Jerry Rice is. I mean, I think this is business. I just think it's business. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and these players are mercenaries. They can give two craps about what the franchise is, your history and everything. Like, all they see is the dollar signs. And literally what I just said in the last segment, they're becoming more selfish and more outspoken about it. And rightfully so. I would be too. Like, you guys can easily chew me up and spit me out whenever you want. I need to take advantage of this now. And that's part of why I believe his usage has something to do with it in terms of longevity, because he knows running backs don't last for a long time. And so for him, exactly, it's business. It's like, hey, not only you need to pay me pretty much some top dollar, you can't be using me the same way you were last season, because I'm going to end up shortening my career. I can get injured, a freak accident. Look, I just got hurt in Nashville from a non-contact injury on my foot. That could easily happen right now running the ball with you guys in the backfield. So it's all about business moves. And I'm pretty sure that's something his agent is literally like swirling in his head, and something even himself, he can literally see the trees of the whole forest in the NFL right now.
Haven't we been hearing since we were kids about how it's a shame how the contracts aren't guaranteed in the NFL, and these teams can just cut players at any time, and the players really have no guarantee, no long-term security, and it's all a owner-centric league. I mean, since I was a kid, I've been hearing people say, like, that's wrong. NFL players deserve more security, more power. Why should they be at the team's whim just because there are injuries in the sport? I agree with that. And now we're seeing that get corrected. There's more money in the sport. The salary cap's higher. Guys like Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson have sort of been trailblazers and push, we want guaranteed money. Okay, the change is happening. Well, there's going to be a fallout. The league is going to be different. And what you're going to see is the NBA foreshadowed this. This happened in the NBA 5 years ago. Cap went up in the NBA. They got a bunch of money. Now, if you look at the highest paid players in the NBA, there's like 50 dudes, at least 50 dudes making $30 million. That's going to be the NFL in like 5 years. So if you want to know what the league's going to look like, just look at the NBA right now. And a guy like Kyrie Irving, who's like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. You know what? I want to go to Boston. You know what? I don't like Boston anymore. I want to go to Brooklyn. It's like that happens no one bats an eyelash in NBA. Did it again. Well, it's a players' league. What are you going to do? Well, that's happening now in the NFL. Deebo is maybe the first one to do it. That could be his legacy. He could be assembling a super team with LeBron James.
And I think also the brilliant Vish on your show once said, I don't know where you said it, is that he has a responsibility to also get that deal for his wide receiver peers as well. So that's something that I could never would even imagine or thought of. That's a great point right there.
The more guaranteed money, the better for everyone else. I mean, honestly, what Kirk Cousins did 4 or 5 years ago, getting that fully guaranteed contract is great. That's his legacy in the NFL. He's a mediocre quarterback and a great contract negotiator who helped get players some power in this league. Yeah. Deshaun Watson, too. That was a big one. And I think teams are pissed about that. Like, why did you do that? Do you understand?
Yeah, you see how the owners, I think it's isn't it from with the Panthers or something about Baker Mayfield, about why that's part of why Baker Mayfield can't get traded, because the teams are being petty. Like, you just ruined the market by giving Deshaun Watson and all people this. I know. And now we're not going to get.
But what's so interesting to me about the Browns doing that, how old is the GM of the Browns? He's like 34. Oh. He's my age. So he's not caught up in that old school, conservative, traditional stuff. He's right there in the same generation as Deebo Samuel and Deshaun Watson, and he doesn't have any problem treating them as the stars that they are. The Niners over here, John Lynch is like, I played in the 90s. No one treated me like a star. I had to do this. I didn't get guaranteed. Like, well, sorry. Sorry, John. That was a different time. Congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame. Teddy says offer was how they planned to use him. 18 games missed. Offer was how they planned to use him. Maybe. I guess we'll never know. You think they can get A.J. Brown? No. I don't think they want to spend big money on wide receivers. I think they're cool spending on a fullback and a tight end because they don't make as much money. You know what I mean? Again, it's the Browns. Of course, they paid Watson.
That was kind of wild that they did do that. So.
It was very wild. Mark says for the second straight year, the Niners are dominating the news leading up to the draft. Jerry Jones is jealous.
Jerry Jones is so jealous.
But are they profiting off of this? Or am I profiting off of this? Michael Duran says, so you're telling me the Browns are setting the market for good teams in the league by paying these players? The Raiders paid AB. Look what happened. Okay.
Well, it wasn't broken off, though.
Niner fans are trying to push back and say that Parag and the Niners are still doing business the right way. Okay. Well, it's not just the Browns. It's, a lot of teams that are giving out more and more guaranteed money. We'll see what happens. There's that trend, and there's the Niners holding on to the past and just sort of saying, it's not happening. It's not happening. I'm not acknowledging it. Okay. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I just have a feeling that not acknowledging facts is a rough way to do business.
I mean, the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is still the highest paid guarantee that they handed out right now after they've already done multiple contracts says a lot.
Also, I don't know if you caught it, but in that press conference for John Lynch, I asked him, I said, a lot of people would say you haven't accomplished your main goals this offseason. You didn't extend Deebo. You didn't trade Jimmy. You didn't use the cap space you could have created by trading Jimmy. So that would mean you're having a subpar offseason. How do you respond to that criticism? And he goes on like, what do you mean? We improved special teams. And then at the end, he said something that was new that I didn't follow up on because it caught me by surprise. He said, we've really spent a lot the first 5 years here. Top 5, top 10 in cash spending, cap spending. We always knew that we were going to need to dial it back a little bit. And that was the plan. And we were prepared for that. What? So the plan was to dial back spending this year. You went to the NFC Championship game last year, and instead of being like, let's spend a little more and get over the hump, you're like, you know what? That was a fluke that we made it that far. Let's not overreact. Let's dial back the spending and stick to the plan. Like, wow.
Does Billy Beane run the 49ers too?
Wow. So Deebo, if you want to know why they're not giving you the guaranteed money you want, the plan was to dial back spending this year. Sorry, bad timing. What?
Dude, that's why I think it's wild. It's like, it's one thing you guys are going to splurge on free agency, like great, but you're not going to splurge on your own talent, your own homegrown talent. Isn't that the point, to draft elite players and to keep them?